Patriots, baby.
The Inky Man.
And he's on the door. And he's on the door.
It is real.
And he's on the door. And he's on the door.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy. First off, let me say happy hump day.
Hump day.
So, today we're going to do a Tales from the Ink. A story that really happened to me that is just so crazy and may have you think or change the way you think I am. Alright. So this one is called the Kansas City Shootout. So, Kansas City, as in Missouri, because there's a Kansas City, Kansas. And at one time I lived with my pops, and he lived in Overland Park, Kansas. And he worked for a company, and he was the supervisor, manager, and I'm gonna tag him, he'll probably clear this up. But he had a staff of people. So, one of them was a guy that I'm gonna call Damien. Alright? So me and Damien became cool. Once he introduced me to him, little young guy that was, I won't say little young guy, the guy was younger than me. You're right, but he was from St. Louis. Loved to party, loved to get dressed up, and even though he was young, he was into older women. Now, what does that have to do with this story? Nothing, but just a little backstory. So anyway, when I first got out there, my dad introduced me to him. His thing was he wanted to show me how Kansas City, Missouri got down, because he was living out there. So one time he took me on a trip. Now there's two places that I remember that were considered, that he told me were considered dangerous in Kansas City. One was Swope Park. And we drove out there, and this is before I ever went to California, anything. This is where I saw real blood crip situations. So we went to this place called Swope Park, drove around, and I seen a bunch of bloods. I'm talking the Dickies, jeans, the Chucks, the blue rags, the Lokes, big ass afros, whole nine, driving these different cars that I wasn't used to. Cars was actually leaned to the side, so they had the hydraulics and all that on it. Then I seen another section where everybody was in the red flannels, Lokes, flags in the front pocket, some out the back pocket, the Chucks, the Dickies. One thing that was big out there is, and young and old, was that people would have, whenever they had jeans or Dickies, they had this crease in them. You know what I mean? There was a strong crease. Like, I seen how he would do it, because he actually was doing it too, and was telling me, yeah, you gotta get up on this. I mean, the creases used to be so tight out there that there would be people who would get the crease. So you take a pair of pants, you gotta fold it in half, the long way or whatever, and you put some starch on them, and then you just iron them flat. And by the time you unravel them pants, so to speak, there's a big long crease on both legs, right? But some people would actually sew it. Just to sidebar this, some people would take that crease and sew it permanently in there. Okay? Some of you have seen that. Some of y'all probably still do that. If you know anything, feel free to comment below. But this is how serious this was, because here I was coming from the East Coast where they weren't doing that. At that time, it was like Timberland boots, sagging jeans. At that time, it was like Carl Canine. I had my dreads, so I had a big giant Jaja, what I call it, big giant hat, the one that's real bulbous out. Had the little small brim on it. It was all cloth. I had my dreads in there. He was driving an RX-7 with the T-top on it. So, if you don't know any of these words, Google them. All right, so I got to keep this story flowing. So So brought me out to Swope Park. We seen the Bloods, we seen the Crips, we seen In Between, we seen tons of girls with all kinds of cars driving through there. It was just basically a park that you just drove through. Big giant park too. Literally a park, you know. And they would just be you drive through, people showing off their cars, you know. And then we went to this street. It was a cross section, I believe, but it was called Quindaro, if I'm not mistaken. Quindaro. But these two areas I'm talking about was considered to be dangerous. You know, things happened, things popped off in these two areas. So we at Quindaro, pulled over to the side. We was on some strip, which I believe was Quindaro, but it was just a long road with stores on each side, of course, you know what I mean? But literally all people was doing was just driving slow up and down the street on both sides. Just driving slow. You know what I mean? And I've never seen that. The closest I've seen that, I'm a Connecticut kid. We have a seaside park. For y'all in Bridgeport, y'all know. We had a seaside park and people would drive slow through there, but for the most part you kept it moving. But over there, they was like sitting outside the windows. Nobody was ghost riding the whip or any of that. That wasn't out yet, or it wasn't big where anybody was on there. But they were sitting in like caddies, town cars. You know, it was a lot of Lincolns and all that with the rims on it, driving low. Some people were bouncing the whole night. Had the hydraulics on it. So I remember we had parked on the side of the road. Right across the street was this car wash, one of them car washes that just individual bays and you just hook the car up yourself, a little spray and all that. And we were out there so long that it was daytime when we got there. The sun was out by the time we left, and by the end of the story you'll see why we left. It was dark by that time, right? So cars is driving through. Damien is seeing some people that he know. Yo, what up? Yo, what up? They're just driving by. Yo, what up? What up? You see that same person drive in the other direction. Yo, what up? Yo, what up? Like you didn't see him on the other side of the road. And he was doing that all day. And I was just leaning out I'm just sitting there leaning out one side of the T-top, just looking. You know what I mean? Just looking at what was going on. You know, and at one point I just pulled my hair out with my dreads, just drop. So sometimes that was a conversation starter. And another thing about this, kind of the sidebar, was that with me being from the East, being in that turf, in the accents that they had out there, I was the one that had the accent as far as they were concerned. So anything I said was like, yo, say that again, yo, say that again, that kind of thing. So he's pointing out girls, some girls he knows, some he don't. They coming over, they rapping with us or whatever. And anytime I'm opening my mouth, it's like, you say that again? Oh, that's cute. Say that again. Say this word again. And that kind of shit. So we going back and forth through that throughout the day. Into the night. So then it gets real dark, right? All of a sudden I heard, and this car that was on, now mind you, now that I think about it, we're parked on the wrong side of the street. So if the traffic's going this way on this side and the other traffic is coming this way, we came from this side but parked on this side, so we were facing this way. So all the cars actually did. Am I saying that right? I don't know. I might not be saying that. Let's put it this way. Our car was facing this way. See, and the way I'm explaining it is like if we were in England, and I know that's not the case. Okay, anyway. So, we're parked on this side. So, no, I am right. We're parked on this side facing that direction, but all the cars should be going this way. Okay? So, we heard, and all of a sudden there was a car in the lane next to us going in the wrong direction, but the reason it was is because somebody was chasing after them, and the part was them being cut off. So they were trying to get onto another side of the street so they could take off, but they got cut off. All of a sudden, the car that got stopped, a car behind it, all four of the doors of that car, and that was catty now to think about it. Everybody jumped out of each doors, and they ran up on this car, and they started smashing windows, trying to pull people out. So they on one passenger side, guys trying to pull the guy out of the driver's side. He's trying to pull the driver out. The driver's swinging on him. Then his boys in the back, as in the guy who was attacking, his boys are smashing the back windows trying to get. I don't know if there was more people in the car, because all I see in the point of the story is going to be focused on the driver. So they tussling. All of a sudden, everybody just like, if you can imagine that movie, Boys in the Hood. It was like that. Everybody was just like, oh, seeing it, around this fight, people trying to escape. All of a sudden, I heard pop, 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 pop. And then everybody, including Damien, was like, yo, let's go. We jumped in the car. We can't go because everybody's going down the way. We trying to get in. You're trying to get in when we fit in. Mind you, this car is like 6 feet away from us. You know what I mean? In the wrong lane. So we're blocked off by the car that blocked him, and anybody that was trying to get around and get away from the scene was blocking us in, because that's now where the flow of traffic is. So we trying to get out of that direction, and all of a sudden I see the guy who got shot, and it was the driver of that car. He got shot, and he's on the ground, and he's pulling himself up, and he's limping to his car. And he finally got in his car, and I don't know how he did it because he was limping. So I'm assuming he got shot because he didn't have it wasn't like his chest was all wet up or anything with blood. He had got shot in the leg. I don't know how many times, but enough where he had that leg stiff, kind of dead leg. And he's dragging himself to the car. And he gets in the car, and he just takes off. And then we're able to take off. I don't know how he got around. Actually, the guys that did everything, once they let the shots off, they jumped in their cars and took off. So now he had the space to be able to take off, to leave, because they'd been left. You know what I mean? So once he was able to move, we was able to move, because we just pulled in right behind him and just kind of, once we got to a certain point, kind of drove around him. But that shit was crazy. I don't know if the street was called Quindaro. Somebody told me that they had did a special on that street prior to that happening. We talking 93, 94 that this happened. And that's it, man. That's it. It's another one of them crazy tales, crazy situations that I've been in. I don't know if you should have enjoyed that story, but it's a true story. That's a true story. That's a true story. The name was made up. The dude I'm talking about, that name was made up because who knows what happened with that case or whatever. And I'm not gonna put nobody out there, but I just think it's some, I just let you know what your boy been through. Other than that, happy Hump Day.
Hump Day
to you. Hopefully you're having a great one, a much safer one than that one. Hey, Christmas Eve is in 2 days. I'm pretty sure I'll be releasing a show on that day. But if I don't, for whatever reason, drunk off some eggnog or something like that, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas Eve to you. But I'm pretty sure I'll see you on Friday. With that being said, later.
What did you say? You say.